You've seen the movies. Whether we're beaming up Scotty or using a portkey, modern fiction is full of teleportation. But that's all it is, fiction, right? Well, maybe not. It turns out that human history is full of examples of real-life teleportation, and scientists have even achieved quantum teleportation in the laboratory. But is human teleportation even possible? And if so, how often does it happen? Prepare to be surprised. In this video, we'll take a look at 5 strange and mysterious real-life cases of teleportation. Every story you're about to hear has been well documented and has baffled scientists and mystery lovers alike. Brace yourself, because the teleportation cases in this video will stick in your head and drive you crazy. Are you ready? Good. Let's go. Gil Perez, Mexico City, October 25th, 1593. We know about this one from the country's official records, and while you might not trust 400-year-old paperwork, I think you'll find the case compelling. On that seemingly innocent October morning, a group of soldiers were standing guard outside the palace. But there was something strange about one of the guards. He was wearing a foreign uniform and wielding a different type of musket to the rest of the soldiers. He looked confused, so authorities took him in to ask him a few questions. Questions like, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" The man replied to say, "My name is Gil Perez. I was ordered this morning to mount guard at the doors of the governor's palace in Manila. I know very well this is not the governor's palace, and evidently I am not in Manila. Why or how that may be, I do not know. But here I am, and this is a palace of some kind, so I am doing my duty as nearly as possible." Manila and Mexico City are nearly 9,000 miles apart, on opposite sides of the Pacific Ocean. Perez and the authorities couldn't understand what he was doing there. The man was later jailed for 2 months until a ship from Manila docked in the city. The soldiers on board the ship knew Perez and were able to confirm that he was in Manila the day before his ill-fated visit to Mexico City. But in a time-before-powered flight, how did Perez travel so far so quickly? And why did he have no memory of the journey? Perhaps it will have to remain a mystery. Dr. Geraldo Vidal. This well-known account of teleportation comes to us courtesy of Dr. Geraldo Vidal and his wife, Rafa de Vidal. In 1968, the husband and wife duo were driving their Peugeot 403 along a remote road near Buenos Aires, Argentina, when they were suddenly surrounded by a thick fog. Everything went black and the Vidals were rendered unconscious. Meanwhile, concerned friends and family members called the police and launched a search, but it turned up no trace of the husband and wife. Luckily, the story has a happy ending. A full 48 hours later, Geraldo Vidal called his family to let them know that he was safe, but that he and his wife were in Mexico City, around 4,000 miles away. They had no idea how they got there. It later transpired that Vidal and his wife regained consciousness while parked along a road that they've never seen before. They both had sore necks and felt like they'd spent a long time asleep. The car had been badly burned somehow, but it started up okay, and the couple drove around until they found someone who could tell them where they were. No explanation has been found for what happened to the Vidals on that mysterious day in the 1960s. Lucy J. We're back in the 60s again, but this time we're headed to the 1800s to meet a 13-year-old girl who's known only as Lucy J. By 1865, Lucy had demonstrated a whole heap of unusual powers. Once, when falling ill, she used her skills as a medium to contact spirits in search of a cure. She followed out the instructions that were provided through automatic writing, and the cure was successful and nursed her back to health. Lucy was also able to generate beautiful flowers and stunning smells from out of nowhere, and she was said to have the ability to make objects appear and disappear at will. But it wasn't just objects that Lucy could teleport. According to testimonies from the time, she was also able to blink in and out of existence, often returning with strange objects from faraway places. One researcher who studied her, John S. Ladd, described Lucy's teleportation in detail, saying, "Her reappearance was instantaneous. In the twinkling of an eye, she stood before you, fresh and blooming, and without any indications of exhaustion, although her absence may have been from the morning into the evening." No scientific explanation for Lucy's mysterious abilities has ever been provided. David Lang. The strange case of David Lang could easily be filed as a mysterious disappearance, if not for a few subtle factors that make this case unique. Back in 1880, the farmer was out in the fields when he suddenly disappeared into thin air in plain view of 5 witnesses. His wife Emma, his 2 children George and Sarah, and 2 of their household servants were all looking in Lang's direction when he vanished mid-step. Perhaps understandably, Lang's wife screamed at his sudden disappearance, and the 5 witnesses rushed over to look for him. But even when they widened the search and called for reinforcements, stamping the ground to find any holes that Lang might have fallen into, they were unable to find any trace of him. But the mystery doesn't end there. Months after his disappearance, Lang's children noticed something strange in the grass where their father had been standing. It had turned a mysterious yellow color and formed a perfect circle that was 15 feet in diameter. Stranger still, when Sarah called her father's name, both of the children heard a response, the voice of David Lang faintly calling for help over and over until his voice died away and disappeared. So exactly what happened? Perhaps we'll never know, and it will always remain a mystery. The Mysterious Man from Tered. The year was 1954, and on a normal day, a normal man boarded a normal flight. But when he arrived at Tokyo International Airport, the normality was replaced by something a little bit more mysterious. When the man, whose name is unknown, and so we'll call him Mr. E, handed over his passport, authorities noticed something suspicious. The passport looked authentic enough, but it listed his country of origin as a mysterious place called Tered. Unfortunately for Mr. E, no such place existed. When they asked him to show them on a map, he pointed to the Principality of Andorra, but the man insisted that he'd never heard of Andorra and that his home nation was over 1,000 years old. Weirder still, he told them that he was flying to Japan for business, explaining that he'd been doing so for the last 5 years. As proof, he showed them his passport, which was covered in customs and visa stamps from his travels. He also carried legal currency from various countries, and even a driver's license that was issued by the Tered government. The mystery was never solved. After a prolonged interrogation, the man from Tered was sent to a nearby hotel where he was guarded by 2 immigration officers. The following morning, after spending the night outside the door, the officers went into the hotel room and discovered that Mr. E had vanished without a trace. Could he have teleported back to some parallel dimension? One thing's for sure. It wouldn't have been easy for him to escape the hotel. The only exit was a 15th-story window that overlooked a busy street, and no one had seen any sign of an escape attempt. There are also no clues as to where the man is now. Perhaps he made it back to his native Tered, wherever that is. What do you think about these mysteries? And if you could teleport anywhere, where would you choose to go? Let us know with a comment, and be sure to subscribe for more mysteries because you won't want to miss what's coming next.